Arizona Sunshine 2 is the long-awaited sequel to 2016's groundbreaking VR zombie shooter classic. But with over 7 years of virtual reality evolution since its critically acclaimed release, has Vertigo Games managed to keep up with the rapidly changing market to deliver a truly next-gen experience? Let's take a look and find out. The gameplay in Arizona Sunshine 2 is pretty much what you'd expect from any zombie shooter. You shoot, scavenge, and ultimately try to survive, with a few puzzles here and there for some added variety. But what sets it apart from the other games in the genre, including some of its VR counterparts, is an unprecedented amount of interactivity with its world, clearly taking inspiration from what still remains the highest quality virtual reality title Half-Life Alyx, with its collectible resources that you stash inside of your wrists. And even if it's been done before, it really works well here, and is definitely a nice change of pace from the game's more action-heavy moments. Although scavenging can be fun, nothing beats some good old zombie killing, and I'm glad to report that they've absolutely nailed it. Each and every gun has a unique feel with accurate weight simulation and satisfying sound effects. So I can assure you that they're all incredibly fun to use when ripping and tearing through armies of shuffling dead. And while you might think that by the end of the approximately 5-hour campaign you'd probably get tired of it, I promise that the innovation in terms of both weapon and enemy types, as well as the unique set pieces throughout the game's varied locations, keep things fresh from start to finish. This is helped even further by the introduction of melee combat, which was essentially non-existent in the original game. And despite not even having a presence in Vertigo's previous title After the Fall, Arizona Sunshine 2 has some of the most fluid and rewarding melee combat I've ever experienced in VR. It's no blade and sorcery, but it is a perfectly fun way to take on waves of zombies, or as the protagonist calls them, Freddies. And speaking of the protagonist, in a landscape where playable characters in video games can't seem to ever stop talking, Arizona Sunshine 2 uses its dialogue sparingly. You can expect some cheesy one-liners from time to time, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. And when the game does try to be funny, it largely succeeds. The overarching story definitely isn't the main focus, but it does its job in guiding you through the game's immersive environment and incredible set pieces. But the biggest benefit of the game's main campaign is undoubtedly the canine companion that accompanies you through the deadly streets of Arizona. You'll be able to command him to take down zombies, retrieve items, solve puzzles, and even play a game of fetch. They've done a really impressive job in bringing man's best friend to life, and it certainly makes his role in the story even more impactful. I won't spoil anything, but there were certainly some twists I did not see coming. I should also note that the entire campaign is playable in 2-player co-op, and if you want to jump in with even more friends, there's also a 4-player wave-based mode, which despite only having one map at launch, was easily one of my favorite parts of the game. The visuals are also a highlight. Even though the poly count in the environment has clearly been scaled down to account for the quest, the lighting more than makes up for it. Everything from the effects and animations to the weapon models are all top notch. And who can forget the incredibly satisfying gore system that's easily the most impressive I've ever seen in a virtual reality title. On top of looking good, for the most part, it also runs fairly well, with a few stutters when entering new areas. And apart from some inconsistency with the game's grabbing mechanic, I found it to be a very polished experience. Arizona Sunshine 2 is a next-gen sequel in every sense of the term, delivering not only a staggering visual upgrade, but also some major improvements in terms of enemy and weapon variety. And with a mostly engaging narrative to top it off, Arizona Sunshine 2 is absolutely worth your time.